That could have been the case.
And you gave them to him.
Correct.
And he provided you money and took the change, right?
Correct.
So he was able to complete that whole transaction, correct?
Absolutely.
And you didn't have to guess at what cigarettes he wanted.
Correct.
I have nothing further, Your Honor.
Any recross?
See, now he gets another bite. Hopefully he'll make use of this extra chance.
Sorry, thank you. You were asked a couple of questions about the counterfeit bill.
Correct.
Do you get a lot of counterfeit bills in that store?
No.
Has it happened before?
Correct.
And I believe you were previously asked about good counterfeits and bad counterfeits in your statements with police.
I do not recall.
Okay. Have you seen some bills that are better counterfeits than other bills?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Not personally, no.
Okay, but you understood that immediately this was a counterfeit bill?
Correct.
Nothing further.
Thanks, sir. You are excused.
Thank you.
That's a good kid. I think he was honest. I think he was forthcoming and not trying to hide, not push an agenda. Absolutely, without a doubt, I think the best witness so far put up by the prosecution. And the reason he was good, didn't get emotional, didn't get argumentative, didn't change his behavior when the two attorneys questioned him. All the other witnesses were very adversarial to the defense. I don't know who they're calling here. I ran out of disk space. That's why I had to cut some of his testimony. My recorder says you got no more disk space. You got to delete something.
Swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth and nothing but the truth.
Yes, sir.
That was it. Sir, in order to be able to be heard more clearly, I'm going to keep my mask on, but if you wouldn't mind, if you would take your mask off, would you be comfortable doing that? All right, thank you. We're going to also test out how the microphone picks you up by having you state your full name and spell each of your names.
Christopher Belfrey. CHRISTOPHERBELFREY.
All right, it sounds like it'll work fine even if you don't lean in, so feel free. All right, Mr. Frank.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Belfry.
Good morning.
And can you tell us, sir, how old are you?
How old am I?
Yeah.
I'm 45.
Okay. And just tell us, if you would, the general area where you live.
South Minneapolis.
And on May 25th of 2020, is that where you lived?
May 25th of 2020 is where I live? No.
No. Is that where you lived on that day?
Yeah, South Minneapolis.
And how long have you lived in South Minneapolis?
About 3 years.
And you are from, well, let me ask it this way. Are you familiar with the area of 38th and Chicago?
Yes.
And is there a store at one of the corners, at least one of the corners of 38th and Chicago?
Yes.
At least on May 25th there was.
Yes.
And is there also a restaurant there?
Yes.
What was the restaurant at that intersection?
What was it?
Yeah, what was the name of it?
I really don't know.
Okay.
To tell you the truth.
On May 25th of 2020, did you go to the area of 38th and Chicago to get some food from one of those restaurants?
Oh, yes, yes.
Okay.
Cup Foods.
Okay. So you went to Cup Foods to get food?
Right. But there's another restaurant across the street. I thought you was talking about that one.
I was, so my fault.
Right.
So you went to that intersection sometime in the late afternoon, early evening, correct?
Correct.
And where did you drive there?
Yes.
Where did you park?
On the corner of 38th and Chicago, on the 38th side. facing Bloomington, or was that Cedar?
All right.
area.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put up something we've had admitted as Exhibit 1. And that should come up on the screen in front of you.
Right.
Do you see that photograph?
Right.
Do you recognize what is depicted there?
That's 38th in Chicago intersection.
All right. And you should have right in front of you a stylus like this, maybe a different color. See that? What I'd ask you to do is just for the jurors, draw on the screen where you drove up and where you parked on that day.
Came this way, parked right here.
And when you parked there, do you recall seeing a vehicle in front of you?
Yes, sir.
Do you remember what kind of vehicle that was?
Mercedes Benz,
Do you remember what color it was?
not right offhand.
Okay. What style of car or
It's
vehicle?
like a hatchback Mercedes Benz, like a sports truck or something like that.
And when you pulled up there and parked, did you see something that drew your attention?
Not right offhand. Shortly after, yes, when two officers was coming across the street, I noticed them coming and they approached the vehicle in front of me. One officer drew a handgun and opened the door and pointed the gun at whoever was in the driver's seat.
So at that point in time, had you gotten your food already or not yet?
No, no,
Okay.
sir.
And so you were just sitting in your car and you see these officers pull up,
Yes, sir.
or walk up, correct?
Right.
And after seeing that, what happened next?
Kind of startled me, you know, from where I'm from, when you see officers.
Right there. Don't talk about past experience, talk about
Yes,
what your
sir.
reaction was.
Yeah.
Thank
Let
you.
me
It startled me,
Yeah,
you
let me-
know, when I seen the officer raise his gun.
Let me just,
I started recording.
okay, that's exactly what I wanted to ask you
Right.
about, right? So at some point you started recording that.
Right.
And
Correct.
that was because of basically what you saw, correct?
Right.
All right. And so when you were parked there, you started making a recording, correct?
Correct.
And at some point you stopped the recording.
Correct.
Why did you stop that recording at that point in time?
Because I heard more sirens pulling up, and I didn't want to be trapped in between the whole commotion of what's going on. I didn't know exactly what was going on. It's just I didn't want to be in the middle of, you know, a bunch of commotion about what's going on. So I moved across the street.
So you moved your car.
Yes, sir.
And prior to coming into court today, did we show you a copy of that video?
Yes, sir.
And did that video truly and accurately represent what you were seeing while you were recording it?
Yes, sir.
We've marked that as Exhibit 35, and Your Honor, I would offer Exhibit 35 at this time.
35 is received.
Okay, Mr. Belfry, we're going to play that video for you now, and then we'll ask you some questions about it, either during or after it, okay?
Okay.
He's got a broken windshield. Surprised the cops didn't pull him over and give him a ticket. That is the dude with the red pants. I thought they were together. So he's fighting and resisting, refusing to get out, pulling, holding on the door. Fighting and resisting, another officer has to come help. committing a felony, under the influence, about to drive away, drunk driving. I don't know where Mothers Against Drunk Driving are in all this. Why aren't they upset that he was going to get in a car and maybe go drive by school and kill a kid?
Now, when you were making that recording, do you recall if your window was down on your
Yeah,
truck?
yes, sir.
So we were able to hear some of it on the video. Were you able to hear any better sitting there in person than with the video?
I vaguely heard most of it.
What were you kind of hearing?
I heard him asking him to let me see your hand. He's saying, please, something about I've been shot or something before, please don't, something like that. And at that time, that's when I heard the sirens pulling up and they pulling him out, and that's when I went to back up and turn around.
Okay.
Stop.
And so I'm going to go back now to Exhibit 1. We'll put that up again. And again, if you would take the stylus and just kind of show the jurors where you went when you moved your vehicle.
Backed up. Moved the vehicle there.
So for the record, you're showing that you moved from the Dragon Walk side of 38th to the Cup Food side of 38th,
Yes,
correct?
sir.
And when you got over there, what did you do?
I continued to record.
And were you, well, you started recording again, correct?
Right.
And when you were recording, did you have somebody in the car with you?
Yes, my fiance. Well, she was in the car, in Cup Foods getting the food. So by the time I turned around, she came out and got in the car.
And so during that recording, some conversations between you and her were also recorded.
Yes, sir.
And so did you start recording then at that point?
Yes, sir.
And prior to coming into court, did you also have a chance to review that video?
Yes, sir.
And it appears to be a true and accurate copy of the actual video you made.
Most definitely.
Now, I will tell you that we have deleted the audio from this video.
Yes, sir.
Conversation that you and your fiance had, it's not important, it's the video.
Right.
Okay. And so we have marked that as Exhibit 36, and we would offer it at this time.
Any objection?
36 is received.
All right, so now we'll show Exhibit 36. Now, I'd ask to pause it right here, please. And there's no timestamp on the video, so we will do our best to describe it. Oh, there is a timestamp on the video. This will be at approximately 26 seconds. Do you see that? All right. And what you're seeing here, obviously there are two officers, well, there are now 3 officers on the scene, correct?
Correct.
And the original 2 officers are in this view, and one of the officers is with the individual sitting on the ground, correct?
Correct.
The individual sitting on the ground, do you recall seeing him from when you were parked behind the Mercedes before?
Correct.
Where was that individual when you were parked behind the vehicle?
He was in the driver's seat.
So that's the same individual that in the prior video had been removed from the driver's seat.
Correct.
And did you see while you were moving the car how those 2 officers and that individual went from the Mercedes in the prior video to where they are now?
Correct.
How did that happen?
They brought him out, walked him over to the sidewalk, sat him down. One officer then went over to the other people that was in the vehicle and started asking them questions.
And then the other officer had the driver sit on the ground there where we see him now?